What's up, everybody? It is Finish Strong Friday, and it is episode 167 of Standing Out. Let's go. What's up, everybody? Hope you're doing great. Trey Griggs here at Beta Consulting Group. We are so excited that you are here for another episode of Standing Out, a daily podcast about sales, marketing, and leadership powered by Beta Consulting Group. Do me a favor when you get a chance and you're surfing the web, check us out at betaconsultinggroup.com. See how we can help you tell your stories. We're all about helping companies become known, trusted, so that they can grow their revenue. So check us out, fill out a form. We'll follow up with you. Love to hear your story and help you tell that story to grow your business. Also, while you're on the store, you might as well pick up a little bit of swag. We got some great items at the store. We got water bottles, cups, mugs, all kinds of great stuff. And we got a coupon code for you this month because it is October, and hard to believe we are 2/3 of the way through October already. But the coupon code is SPOOKY. All caps, SPOOKY. Take 20% off of your entire order. And when your merch arrives, take a picture or video and send it to us. We'd love to see that. We're all about creating a community here of people that are pursuing excellence, and we would love for you to be a part of that. So take advantage of that when you get a chance. All right, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, TAFS, the good guys in freight factoring. They're helping owner operators and small carriers keep those wheels turning. They are the heroes of our economy. And so check them out at TAFS.com. Let them know that Trey sent you, and get started today with cash flow resources, discounts on fuels and tires, and so many other resources that will help you run your business profitably. So check them out. And the easy way to do it is to click on the link in the comments. That will take you right to my landing page with TAFS, so they know that I sent you. I got to get credit for this, people. So make sure you do that and check out the good guys over at TAFS. All right, so it's Friday. Like I said, it's Finish Strong Friday, everybody. So make sure that you go out there and do whatever you do with all you got today. Dinner's going to taste better tonight, so the weekend's going to be sweeter by finishing strong today. So I want to encourage you guys to do that. And also check out every episode from this week. We had some awesome guests this week on the show, as we do every week. And so definitely check those out. John Devaney on Monday, Ramel Watley. He's doing the Freight Fest event in Houston coming up, so check that out. Obviously, the mashup show with Chris Jolly, that was big on Wednesday, so check that one out. And yesterday, a great conversation with Peter Stefanovich. And today, my good friend Scott's coming on the show in just a minute. So you can catch all of those on YouTube, LinkedIn Live, Twitter, Facebook, or you can get them on audio version wherever you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever they are. So check it out if you missed an episode this week. All right, super excited about today's guest. Had a chance to meet this guy about 4 or 5 months ago, something like that, and got to learn a little bit about his business and what he's doing. He's been doing some really cool stuff in the insurance space, and very excited to talk to him today. So please welcome the president from ClearConnect Solutions, Scott Grandys. Scott, what's up, man?
Not much. How you doing?
Dude, great to have you on the show. Are you a Papa Roach fan? Did you like the music? Are you?
I do like the music. That was pretty good. I like it. There you go. Turn it up.
I know. Maybe play more of that later. Scott, it's so good to have you on the show, man. You are not on the same continent as me right now. Tell everybody a little bit about where you are and what's going on over at ClearConnect.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am in lovely Britain, in London. We are very active in the London market with the Lloyds folks out here with all the different syndicates. And I come out here. I try and get out here about every 6 weeks. Yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
I think every time I see you on LinkedIn or get a chance to chat with you, it's like I'm heading back over or I'm over there now, and that's cool. Tell everybody a little bit about the Lloyds of London program that you're a part of, and some people might not even know what Lloyds of London is. So give us a little background on that.
Yeah, sure. So Lloyd's is a very unique. Well, they don't call themselves an insurance company anymore. They're more of a marketplace. They've been doing what they're doing for about 300 years, and they've got syndicates, which are basically capital providers that work underneath the Lloyd's umbrella, and they go out and they find different ways to insure all kinds of stuff across the world. They're one of the largest that do this, and we got involved heavily this year because we were part of Lloyd's has what they call the Lloyd's Lab, which is part of their innovation center, and we were asked to participate in the Lloyd's Lab in one of their cohorts and built out some cool new technology. And ever since then, we've been busy, coming back, still involved in the lab, and yeah, it's exciting. London's a
I'm
cool
not
market.
I'm not going to lie. It's weird to say that they've been doing this for 300 years. I mean, we haven't even been a country for 300 years, and they've been doing
Yeah.
insurance for 300 years, which is really
Well,
remarkable.
it's crazy. I mean, you think about stuff like, everybody knows the Titanic, right? Well, Lloyd's insured that. All the stuff with 9/11 and all that. I mean, you name it, Lloyd's is involved in it. In fact, they're probably one of the largest capital providers for the U.S. trucking market from an insurance perspective.
Yeah, which I would
It's
imagine a lot of people don't even realize that, don't even
no.
understand, that part of it. And so let's talk a little bit about the technology that you're building and also about
Mhm.
the state of insurance, like the insurance climate and transportation. Let's touch on that just a little bit. What are you guys doing? You said you're creating some cool technology solutions. What does that look like?
Yeah, so I'm going to wrap both of those into one. So in London, for the last 7 or 8 years, the Lloyd's market sponsors about $30 billion a year in premium in the United States for in the trucking industry. For the last 7 or 8 years, they've lost. Well, they've had a combined loss ratio of 110%, which means on their 30 billion, they're losing 3 billion every single year. So that's a rough part. Um, and so, we got out here in the London market because we wanted to find a way to help them shift that loss ratio. And so, what we've done is we built a technology that looks at our version one, 172 different data points on fleets, on drivers, on trucks. We monitor those on a real time basis. And those syndicates and those capital sponsors can look at um, how that risk, all the way down to the driver level, is performing throughout the policy year instead of having to cross their fingers and toes throughout the year and hope that there's no losses. So we've provided them transparency into what's happening in the states and whether or not their capital is being provided or protected, I should say.
That's interesting. And so they're really getting down to the driver level, which I think is
Hmm.
is critical because you could have a company of 100 drivers, and if one of them maybe isn't quite great, and that company just doesn't have any indications that it's going to be bad, you'd hate to see that company being affected so much that driver is really the issue. So talk about that. How is the game changing from insurance from what it was the last 5, 10 years to where you guys are headed now?
Data. It's data. Data's
Data is
changing the
king.
game. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's been out there, and exposing the data that's out there in a way that's meaningful is really the critical component. So we're starting with what we're doing out here in the London market, giving the folks that are sponsoring the capital and actually, financially supporting the claims. We're giving them visibility into what's happening. But the ultimate goal is to take all of that information, all of those views, those risk scores down to the driver and to the fleet. So, if you think about, Credit Karma and all these things that we watch for our credit, right? We're going to give those tools to the drivers and to the fleet so they can figure out how to best um, monitor what they need to do to get the best premiums and reduce their costs from a business perspective. So, I think we're shifting the game by bringing this data in and letting people see it. So it's super exciting,
Yeah.
super exciting. But data is everything.
Well, trucking insurance is taking a huge, I think, step back recently just because of some of these nuclear verdicts and some of these other things that are just causing these premiums to rise and rise, making it really hard for trucking companies
Hmm.
to add trucks and to feel like they can add drivers, and their operating ratios are already really really small, and so it's a really really cool thing to see. Are you guys going to be the layer underneath technology? Or are you going to actually be providing insurance? Talk about how your platform integrates within the insurance market.
Yeah, for sure. So we don't provide the insurance. We work with the program managers, the cover holders, the MGAs, the capital providers, the insurers, and then we actually get all the way down into the fleets and the drivers as well. But generally speaking, the folks that bring us on are the ones that are providing the insurance coverage or sponsoring the premium. Um, and so that's how we get into the supply chain. But hopefully by the time we turn this stuff around, those margins are going to be a little bit better, and we can help to shift that loss ratio. And this is a tremendous fact, at least in the London market here. For every percentage point that we can save the loss ratio, so meaning that we can reduce the loss ratio by 1 percentage point, it's $300 million a year in savings to the London
Wow.
market. It's huge. And the hope is they can now take that down to these trucking fleets, and they can give them better premiums and better pricing because they're better performing. And those nuclear verdicts, honestly, I think one of the biggest problems is the data is everywhere. Like these trucking fleets, the majority of the fleets on the road are 1 to 20 units. They don't have the depth in their bench to be able to watch all the different things that they need to watch. So the goal is test this at the capital side, test it at the insurance side, then take it down to the drivers and the fleets and help them understand what are the things that are going to drive loss and what are the things that are going to drive them to get in trouble. So that's what we're really trying to do.
Yeah, that's so critical. And data, is an interesting aspect of it. You have to have the data. It's got to be clean and it's got to be
Mhm.
usable, right? And if you can get
Yep.
that, that trifecta in order, then it can be pretty applicable in terms of trying to figure these things out, which is
Yeah.
absolutely fascinating. How did you get into the insurance game and the technology game? Talk about your entrance into that and how you got started.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been in. We'll start with transportation. I've been in transportation. Well, I was born into it. my whole my whole family's in it.
You're one of the
My
few that
brother,
didn't land in here. You started here.
yeah. I mean, I always tell people if there's a seat in transportation, I've sat in it, including driving trucks and delivering cargo
Have you
and the
really? What'd
like.
you drive? Did you
Oh
drive a
yeah.
flatbed
Oh
or
yeah.
van or reefer? What'd you drive?
So I drove a. I started out in a cargo van, and then I moved into box trucks.
Box trucks, yeah. My dad was a
Yeah.
local box truck driver, 25-foot truck, 26-foot truck, whatever it was. I remember that.
Oh, it was fun. We had I had a company back in Ohio way back in the day, and Home Depot. I was one of the first ones to be doing the Home Depot deliveries, and they would have these all day you're running making deliveries, and then they have one that's a two-man delivery, and I'm like, there's no, I'm gonna have to manhandle this thing myself and get it down on the floor. Yeah, yeah, it was good. It was fun. It was fun.
Yeah.
And then insurance. The company that I was with before. We dabbled in the occupational accident insurance side. We dabbled in the independent contractor versus employee side. Um, I kind of fell into this with my business partner now, who's been in transportation forever, and he had the contacts out in London, which kind of drugged me into where we're at today. The goal originally when we started the company was to help independent contractors kind of track what they've done, track their all their credentials and all this, validate it so that they could work for other companies. And it morphed into helping out with underwriting requirements and compliance with those. And then we learned a whole bunch along the way. And now we've got this machine that is kind of taken on its life of its own, and it's pretty darn cool, pretty exciting,
Yeah. Yeah,
scary,
it
and
is.
exciting.
So you were driving trucks, you've been in transportation for a long time. Talk a little bit about, your passion for the industry. Why are you so passionate about insurance in transportation?
Well, I'm passionate about change, and I know this industry. I know insurance, and when it's something that I don't even know where I got it from. My mom, my dad, somebody else. I don't know. Um, Anytime that I see that there's something that could be done better, I kind of gravitate to that, and that's what I move towards. And I try and leave my mark and change things. And as far as trucking and insurance, you know, I say this all the time. I say it here. I say it to everybody I talk to, and to an extent, it sounds a little goofy, but I really believe that if we do the right things with this technology, we really do the right things and roll it out and get it down to the people that are actually driving the trucks. The goal is to save lives. I mean, if we can just stop one accident in one of those big rigs and we can save one life, then everything that we do is worth it. And then you extrapolate that out over the country, and hopefully we make an impact. And that, I think, now that's one of my big passions. And the other one of my big passions is just to teach, teach what we know, teach what I know, what I've learned over the years.
Yeah, I love that. Speaking of that, you've got something coming up that's really exciting. You guys have been working on, and I wanted to throw this up on the screen. You guys have a podcast that you guys are starting called Risky Business. Talk a little bit
Yes.
about the idea behind that, and we've had a chance to talk about it a little bit previously. Talk
Yeah.
about that and what you're hoping to accomplish through that.
Yeah. So insurance and trucking and risk and loss and premium and deductibles. I mean, I could sit here and say that over and over again, and I'll probably put you to sleep, right? I mean, it is not, it is not a fun topic to cover. But there's so many components to it, and it's so dynamic, and it touches. I mean, if you think about it, trucks move everything that we do. I mean, everything
Everything.
we buy,
Yeah.
everything in our lives, trucks move it. And every one of those trucks, in order to be legally operating on the road, has to be insured. And so, what I'm trying to do is, and this is where I got one with the teaching, I'm trying to bring some levity to the insurance and the trucking space. And I'm also trying to introduce just that whole kind of innovative way of thinking to say, let's just think about all this. Let's think about all the different things that could drive this risk. Let's not just worry about how many times did that driver speed, how many times did they get out of the truck and how many hours did they, I mean, there's more to it than that. And, the whole concept behind the podcast is hopefully one, it's entertaining. And two, hopefully we introduce some stuff that just kind of takes off and it changes the way that trucking and insurance are done.
Yeah, no, I love that. Like the whole purpose of this podcast is to entertain, educate, and inspire. And if I can do those three things
Mhm.
with guests like you, it makes all the difference. So I'm excited about that. Have you launched yet, or is it coming up? What's the plan?
It's coming up. I'll be doing the first episodes weeks 2 and 3 of November, and we're kicking off. And yeah, hopefully
Is it
it's
going to be monologue style? You can have guests that come in. What's your strategy?
oh yeah, guess. I mean, some of the guests I have coming in are some of the larger syndicates out here. Like the first one that we're going to do is on innovation, and everybody's talking about autonomous vehicles and all this new stuff going on. And then we got stuff back in the States and people getting involved there and looking at health and nutrition and mental wellness for the trucks and or for the drivers in the trucks and all that. So yeah, it's going to be exciting. I think we'll learn some stuff along the way, but again, hopefully it's fun. Hopefully
You have to
people
come up
listen.
with some insurance jokes. Maybe come up with like the insurance joke of the week. I don't know if there are enough insurance jokes to do that, but might be an idea to come up with a joke of the week for insurance. Keep it light, keep it fun. Speaking of keeping it light, we
Absolutely.
got to transition real quick, Scotty. We always have sessions on there or segments on the show that are fun, so we're going to transition to some of those real quick. We always celebrate the national day. It's always kind of a national day, whether it's a federal holiday or something fun. Do you know what today's national day is?
I have
It's fitting
no
for
idea.
October. It's fitting for October. All right. It is National Pumpkin Cheesecake Day. Have you ever had pumpkin cheesecake?
I have not.
I haven't either. I like pumpkin and I like cheesecake, but I am not sure that I like pumpkin cheesecake. It's like having frozen custard, like the pumpkin frozen custard stuff. It's good, but it's like drinking a pumpkin pie. I don't know. It's not. I'm not down for that. So if you never had pumpkin cheesecake, I haven't either. I don't know that I want to, but it's National Pumpkin Cheesecake Day. So if you find a place that has it, try it. Let us know what you think. National Pumpkin Cheesecake. Okay.
I
Anyways,
think I'd have a better chance of getting sticky pudding out here.
you probably would actually. Some fish and chips and some sticky pudding. That's what you got over there.
Uh-huh.
All right. We also have the random question of the day. Now, every day our producer comes up with a question. I have no idea what it is. I haven't seen it yet. It could be funny. It could be serious. It could be a good question. It could be a terrible question. I don't know. We're going to check it out. So the random question of the day today is, what is the most useless invention of all time? Oh, wow. That's interesting.
Of all time.
Most useless invention. I don't know this is the question I want to answer today. Got anything in mind that you think this is a really bad invention?
I'm trying to go through it. You know what? I do.
Let's go. What is it? What do you got?
So back in the 70s, if you were going to park one of your big cars, the big boats, right? They had curb finders. Did you ever see the curb finders? They
Really?
were like,
No.
yeah, they were like two metal pieces that would stick out
To
near the
hit the curb
bottom
to
of the
block the
to hit the
yeah.
curb so that you
Huh.
knew they were. Now that you can't hear that, you can't see it. I don't know. Whoever
It might
invented the
say
curb
it
finder.
it might save my wife from messing up our wheels though, because she tends to hit curbs a lot. I have a feeling that something like that was a husband who's like, stop messing up the wheels, and he put it on there.
Well, there you go. Curb
Oh,
finders.
that's
Look it up.
interesting.
Buy it on Amazon. Boom.
Curb
There you
finder.
go.
I've never even heard of that. So that's really interesting.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so for me, I'm a hat guy. I like wearing hats. I know it doesn't
Uh-huh.
look like it because I got the hair, but I like wearing hats. Like that hat you got on today too. Is that a company hat, by the way, or what is that hat you got on?
Yeah, one of my friends got it for me. I don't know.
Nice.
I
I
like
like
it. I
that.
like the
Yeah,
way
no,
it
it's
fits.
it's a solid hat. Yeah, absolutely. Got to feel good,
Yeah.
right? I think the hat that has the umbrella on top, that's just stupid. Nobody's gonna wear that. Like that
Uh,
doesn't,
uh, uh,
you know what I mean? I mean, it's like get a cowboy hat or something. Like don't wear that. The hat with the umbrella to me, terrible invention. I don't know anybody who would wear that, especially nobody I want to hang out with. So if you have a hat with an umbrella on it, don't wear it around me. That's the terrible invention in my opinion. I just, it's just kind of silly. If it gets windy, it blows off. Like, what's the point? You gotta strap that thing on. I don't know. I'm not into that. Graham says Cheesecake Factory stock today is going way up. I guess maybe so, Graham. I don't know. Maybe so. Haven't been there in a long time, but it's all good. All right. Well, that was the random question today. Thanks for participating. That was kind of silly, kind of stupid, but that's all right. Okay, so Scott, let's transition to ClearConnect. You've had ClearConnect for about 6.5 years now. What was the kind of onus to start that? And talk a little bit about some of the challenges of starting a company and leading a small company.
oh wow. Yeah. So my business partner and I started it. Well, the idea came up back in 14. I think we actually started kicking it off in 15. And the whole idea in the beginning was to help the independent contractor, the driver, right? Because they're supposed to be able to work for multiple companies. And, if they work for company A, they got to run a background check, motor vehicle report, drug screen, they got to pay for it. Then they go to B and they got to do the same thing, and C and the same thing. So we started off on the path of validating and storing that data so they could share it.
Yeah.
Mark Tuckman is he and I kind of, I guess, brainstormed this thing in the beginning, and he is the king of the pivot. He's the one that I think kind of kept us moving in the right. You'll work for weeks and weeks and weeks on something, and he's like, nope, not gonna work, not gonna work. We got pivot.
Yeah.
And so I have to give onus to him to, for all of that. But the trials and the tribulations of starting a business and growing it from nothing, and he and I call it the bootstrap, right? We just bootstrapped it. You just kind of slowly grow into something. It's been a journey. It's been a journey. And that's honestly one of the teaching points that I try and pass down to like my kids or anybody who's interested, which is, I've done businesses before. Some were good, some were not, some made it, some didn't. And the biggest thing that I learned is when you talk to anybody that's made it and that's successful, all they ever say is, I just was too dumb to stop. I just kept going.
I've heard
right?
that. Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's what the last 6, 7, 8 years has been all about. Is just keep going, pivot, have an open mind, and look for the way and look for the opportunity, and don't give up. You just got to keep going.
Yeah. I think there's something to be said about just showing up. I recently did a video about that because I was thinking about that. Like the people that just show up, even if, like, I think about this, like if you want to, get in shape, if you just show up to the gym, even if you don't do anything the first day or don't do a lot, just the habit of showing up, eventually you're going to start doing something because you're there, right? I mean, you're going to be there. And I think just showing up sometimes is one of the biggest, success hacks that's out there. Like you said, just too dumb to not quit. Just keep going at it. Right. And pivoting is important too. When I started Beta Consulting Group, I thought I was going to do sales consulting because I've been in sales my whole career. And then I did a sales consulting gig and I was like, this is not it. I don't enjoy this like I thought I would. And I love branding and marketing much, much more. I see the world that way. And it's like, okay, I'm going to pivot. And so literally within 2 months of starting this, I pivoted to being a brand specialist. And it's really important to kind of, to recognize that, it's like you keep showing up, but you got to make those pivots. What are some other lessons that you've learned along the way, especially with leading people or just anything else along with being a bootstrapped founder?
I would say probably 2 of the biggest lessons. Well, three. One is you got to be humble. You could be on top of it. Well, I think it's that's life, right? We were talking about that a little bit earlier. Frank Sinatra, you're king of the castle one day and you're sweeping the floors the next. I mean,
That's right.
That could happen at any point in time with anybody's business. I mean, that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
I think the second one is you got to teach, right? You got to teach what you know. And I always tell our folks, my job is to make them uncomfortable, right? Because if they're uncomfortable, then that means that they're growing and they're moving into an area that is new, and they got to learn it, and they're going to grow from that. And I think the third one is, and it kind of goes along with being humble. Like my job, I work for everybody in the company. I mean, really, like whatever they need, that's my job to take care of it. And if I don't take care of it, then I've let them down. And I think those are the 3 biggest things that I've learned that on this journey, this particular journey, have made it better than any other journey I've been on before.
And that is so good. Be humble, serve everybody, and be willing to do whatever's required. Like that's so good. I mean, I like to think of it like this. A lot of times when you see the hierarchy of an organization, like the organizational structure, it's like a pyramid with the leaders at the top. But I always think it's inverted. I mean, the leaders at the bottom supporting everybody else. I mean, that's just required. And teaching, and you said teaching, stay humble, teach, and serve everybody. That's a gold right there for leaders that are out there to do that. Where did that come from for you? I know you played soccer in school. You played some sports. Where did that, where did these things come from? Somebody teach them to you? How'd that come on?
I think, humble. That definitely came from my mom. She, the song "Simple Man," Leonard Skinner.
Yeah, she was serving up some humble pie in the house.
Always be humble. If you opened up your mouth and you started talking smack about how great you thought you were, she would. Yeah. she would not take kindly to that.
Yeah, yeah.
Teaching, I think it's been one of those things that I finally have gotten to a point in my life and my career where uh, I've learned a lot. I mean, I learn more every day, but it's very rewarding when you can help somebody grow because you taught them something new and they absorbed it. And then the true sign of the victory of the teaching is that they now teach you something, right? So the student becomes the teacher, and they bring something really unique and really cool to what's happening. And yeah, I think those are the biggest. And the teaching, I just don't know.
Yeah. But see,
it
that's
just
an interesting
it
one
just comes
because a lot
along.
of times people are afraid to give away what they know. There's this fear of like, telling people what you know that they're going to maybe learn it or take over, what you're doing, especially in a company, like teaching people what you do in your company. Well, what if they take my job? Or there's that fear that people have about that. And I think being at the top, of the organization, it starts with you. So if you're willing to teach people and help them grow, then it filters throughout the organization. So I love that. But
Absolutely. And I'll tell you what. So Mark, who he and I created this mess together. Um, he's got a saying, and I don't think it's that inappropriate. He goes, "If you're afraid to take your pretty wife to the bar, then you shouldn't have a pretty wife, right? So you shouldn't be afraid to teach. You shouldn't be afraid to tell people what you know, and you shouldn't be able to expose something that can make somebody better.
yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
that's hugely important. I think the final one, um, really learning that, I went through my young stages when you get a little bit of power in a job and you're like, oh yeah, everybody works for me, I'm the boss, right? Yeah, I honestly don't believe that. I mean, yeah, I'm responsible to make sure that things keep going and things keep moving, but it really, I mean, I work for them. If I think I just learned that through the school of hard knocks and losing good people and making mistakes. And you got to realize that the best way to keep people happy is to keep them happy, right? And so my job is to make sure that happens.
Right, right. You got to know what they want, what they need, what they're motivated by, when things go bad. I mean, I was thinking about this recently. Like somebody could be doing great, and then one day they come in and everything's changed because that night they had something go on. And you don't know. Like you got to be in tune to those things. And people are humans. People are real. They deal with
Mhm.
crap all the time as well. They have issues with kids and with spouses, and different things breaking down, and just life in general. So it's like it's so important to know what your people need, where they're at, all those kind of things. But yeah, it's like way better to keep a great employee happy, even if you got to pay them a little more or give them some more time than it is to, lose them and have to start over. There's no doubt about that.
Agreed.
All right. Well, Scott, it's been great having you on the show today. I'm so excited for your podcast when the first one comes out. Looking forward to having you on, having you back on here again, because I want you to talk about that, because I think more companies need to start podcasts. I really do. And so I'm excited that you're doing that. I want to hear the results and how it goes. I hope you'll come back and see us again real soon.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having me. I love it. This is great.
No, it's great having you all the way from London. Technology is so amazing, And everybody
From
watching,
London.
thanks for being a part of the show today. It is Friday, so remember, in just 1 hour, we've got episode 129 of The Word on the Street with Ann Rinke. She is the CEO of the Transportation Intermediaries Association. We're going to talk about the upcoming Technovations conference next week, along with a lot of other things as well. And make sure you come right back here on Monday for an awesome episode of Standing Out. Jay Gustafson's going to be on the show on Monday. I'm going to be recording live from a truck. I'm doing a ride along, Scott. I'm going to be going from St. Louis to Kansas City, back to St. Louis. It's going to be an awesome show. So everybody out there, make sure you watch that. And we will see you guys next week. Scott, thanks so much, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Bye.